The galaxy was vast, and Earth was nothing more than a small blue dot in the records of the Galactic Council. Every 10 years, they sent a ship to check on the primitive humans who lived there. The reports were always the same: basic technology, simple space travel, no threat to anyone. The alien observers would watch from far away, take some pictures, file their reports under Class D civilizations, safe to ignore. What they did not know was that humans had been watching them back. Commander Lisa Torres stood on the bridge of the Titan, a massive ship floating in the darkness beyond Pluto. Around her, dozens of similar vessels hung silent in space, their hulls black as the void itself. These ships were nothing like the crude rockets the aliens had seen humans use before. They were sleek, powerful, and built with technology that would make the galaxy's greatest minds weep with envy. "Status report," Lisa said to her crew. "Systems running perfectly, Commander," replied Officer Ben Walsh from his station. "The fusion drives are operating at peak efficiency. We could reach Alpha Centauri in 3 weeks if needed." Lisa nodded. 3 weeks to travel over for light years. The aliens who spied on Earth still used ships that took months for the same journey. They had no idea what humans had achieved. "Any word from Earth?" she asked. "Yes, ma'am. President Rodriguez sends his regards." The council meeting went well. All nations have agreed to maintain radio silence until we're ready. For 50 years, humanity had been preparing for this moment. When the first alien scout ship was detected in 2045, the world had nearly panicked, but wise leaders had prevailed. Instead of announcing the discovery, they had chosen a different path. They would watch, learn, prepare. The aliens thought humans were primitive because that's what humans wanted them to think. Every radio signal from Earth was carefully controlled. Every space mission was designed to look simple and clumsy. While the aliens filed their boring reports, human scientists were reverse engineering alien technology and improving upon it. Dr. Amy Foster has been one of the key figures in this secret development. Her team had studied fragments of alien metal found in old crash sites. They had decoded alien computer systems from intercepted transmissions. Most importantly, they had learned that alien technology, while advanced, was also old and comfortable. The aliens had stopped trying to improve because they thought they were. It's already the best. Humans never made that mistake. The quantum computers humming in the Titan's core were proof of that. They could process information faster than entire alien worlds. The ship's AI could predict enemy movements before the enemies knew what they were going to do themselves. The weapon systems could target a coin from 1,000,000 miles away, but the real breakthrough had been the gravity drive. Dr. Robert Kim had discovered it by accident while studying how alien ships move through space. The aliens used crude fusion, rockets that pushed them forward with burning gas. Humans had learned to fold space itself, stepping from one point to another without crossing the distance in between.
What?
Took aliens months, now took humans days. Commander called out Lieutenant Grace Park from the communications station. "We're receiving the scheduled check-in from the outer patrol. Let's put it through." Captain Matt Stone's voice crackled over the speakers. His ship, the Hammer, was stationed near the edge of the solar system, watching for alien visitors. "All quiet. Out here, Commander?" "The Rylan observer ship passed through last week right on schedule. They took their pictures of our primitive Mars colony and moved on. They have no idea we have 17 fully operational cities on Mars now." Lisa smiled. The aliens thought humans had barely managed to put a few research stations on Mars. In reality, Mars was now home to 12 million people and served as humanity's main shipbuilding center. The red planet's lower gravity made it perfect for constructing the massive vessels that now filled human space. "Any signs they detected are real installations?" Lisa asked. "None at all. Our stealth technology is working perfectly. To their sensors, Mars looks exactly like it did 20 years ago. This was perhaps humanity's greatest achievement. They had learned to hide entire cities from alien detection. While the observers looked down and saw empty deserts, millions of humans lived and worked in underground complexes that stretched for miles. Gardens grew under artificial suns. Factories produced ships and weapons around the clock. Children played in parks that the aliens would never imagine existed. Key had been learning how alien sensors worked. Every piece of alien technology relied on the same basic principles. Once humans understood those principles, it became easy to fool them. Holographic projectors showed the aliens what they expected to see. Sensor jammers made human activity invisible. Even the radio signals from Earth were carefully filtered to hide humanity's true advancement. "How are the new recruits coming along?" Lisa asked her second-in-command, Colonel Mark Davis. "Better than expected. The training program has produced over 10,000 qualified space officers in the past 5 years. Every nation on Earth has contributed their best people to the fleet. That had been another challenge, getting the world to work together in secret. But the alien threat had united humanity in ways that centuries of war and politics never could. When faced with a galaxy that saw them as nothing more than clever animals, humans had found their common purpose. The secret moon bases were training the next generation of space warriors. Hidden beneath the lunar surface, vast academies taught young humans how to pilot ships that moved faster than light, how to fight battles across star systems, and how to think on a galactic scale. These students would never know a world where humans were considered primitive. "Sir," Officer Walsh called out, "we're receiving a priority transmission from Earth Command." "Let's hear it." General Patricia Kim's voice filled the bridge. "All fleet commanders, this is Earth Command. Intelligence reports indicate increased alien activity in nearby systems. Several previously unknown species have been detected moving through our region of space. We may need to accelerate our timeline." Lisa felt her heart rate increase. For 50 years, the plan had been to reveal humanity's true strength gradually, on their own terms. But if new alien powers were entering human space, that luxury might be ending, acknowledged Earth Command. "All ships remain on standby." She looked out at the stars, knowing that somewhere out there, alien civilizations continued their business, unaware that everything was about to change. They had dismissed Earth for the last time. Soon, very soon, they would learn what humans could really do when they set their minds to it. The silent ascension was nearly complete. The galaxy had no idea what was coming. Ambassador Theron of the Althorian Empire stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Dominator, watching Earth grow larger through the viewing screen. Behind him, 2 more warships followed in perfect formation. The Crusher and the Enforcer were the pride of the Althorian fleet, each one capable of destroying a small moon. Finally, Theron muttered to his aide, Commander Vex, "The High Council has decided these humans are ready for proper contact. The Althorians were not the most powerful species in the galaxy, but they were far from the weakest. Their empire controlled 47 star systems and had existed for over 3,000 years. They had watched many primitive species take their first steps into space, and they knew how to handle such situations." "The plan remains the same?" Vex asked. "Of course. Show them our ships, demonstrate our power, and offer them membership in our empire. They'll be grateful for the protection and guidance. Most species are." Theron had done this before. Young civilizations were always impressed by superior technology. A few displays of power usually convinced them to accept Althorian rule without resistance. The humans would be no different. The Althorian sensors showed exactly what they expected. To see, Earth looked primitive and backward. A few space stations orbited the planet. Some basic ships moved between Earth and Mars. There was nothing threatening about any of it. "Sir," reported the sensor officer, "we're detecting a single human vessel approaching our position." Theron smiled. "One ship. Ship to meet 3 of the most advanced warships in this sector of space. The humans clearly understood their place in the galaxy. Put it on screen." The human ship appeared on the main viewer. It was smaller than the Althorian vessels, but sleeker in design. Its hull was a dark gray color that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. The ship moved with surprising grace, but Theron was not impressed. Size and firepower were what mattered in space combat. "Open a communication channel," Theron ordered. A human face appeared on the screen. The man was middle-aged with short gray hair and calm blue eyes. He wore a simple blue uniform without any fancy decorations. "I am Captain David Kane of the Earthship Defender. Welcome to our solar system." Theron straightened in his chair, making sure his impressive robes and medals were visible. "I am Ambassador Theron of the Althorian Empire. Speak for the High Council and 47 worlds. You should feel honored that we have chosen to make contact with your species." Captain Kane's expression did not change. "We appreciate the visit. How can we help you?" "Help us," Theron laughed. "You misunderstand the situation, human. We're here to help you. Your species has reached the point where it needs guidance from more advanced civilizations. The Althorian Empire is prepared to offer you protection and membership in our great alliance." "That's very kind of you," Kane replied, "but we're not interested." The bridge of the Dominator fell silent. Theron felt his face grow warm with anger. No primitive species had ever refused an offer from the Althorian Empire. This human clearly did not understand the situation. "Perhaps you do not comprehend what you are facing," Theron said, his voice cold. "My 3 ships carry enough firepower to reduce your planet to dust. Your entire civilization exists only because we allow it." Kane nodded slowly. "I understand your position, but my answer remains the same. Earth is not interested in joining your empire." "Then you have chosen poorly," Theron declared. He turned to his weapons officer. "Charge all weapon systems. Target their ship." The Althorian weapons began to power up, their energy signatures blazing on every sensor. The Dominator's main cannon could punch through the hull of any ship in the galaxy. The human vessel would be vaporized in seconds. But something strange happened. The human ship's sensors were suddenly everywhere, scanning the Althorian vessels with an intensity that made their own equipment seem primitive. Warning lights began flashing on the Althorian bridge. Called the sensor officer, his voice shaking. "Something is wrong with our weapons. They're not responding to commands." "What do you mean not responding?" Theron demanded. "All weapon systems are offline. The targeting computers are locked out. I can't even access the main power grid." On the screen, Captain Kane's expression remained calm. "I'm sorry, but I can't allow you to threaten Earth. Your weapon systems have been disabled." "Impossible," Theron shouted. "No one can disable Althorian technology remotely." "Apparently someone can," Kane replied. "Your ships are also no longer capable of independent movement. I've taken control of your navigation systems as well." As if to prove his point, the 3 Althorian ships suddenly began moving without their cruise input. They turned away from Earth and began flying toward the edge of the solar system, completely ignoring the frantic commands from their bridges. "How?" Theron whispered. "How are you doing this?" "We've been studying your technology for quite some time," Kane explained. "Your systems are well designed, but predictable. Every Althorian ship uses the same basic computer architecture. Once we understood how it worked, developing countermeasures was relatively simple." The Althorian ships continued their forced journey. Away from Earth, their crews could only watch helplessly as their advanced warships obeyed the commands of a single human vessel. "This is not possible," Theron repeated. "Your species is primitive. Our intelligence reports show that you barely have space travel." Kane's expression grew slightly amused. "Your intelligence reports show what we wanted them to show? We've been monitoring your observer ships for decades. Every time one of your scouts visited our system, we made sure they saw exactly what we wanted them to see." "You're lying. Humans don't have this kind of technology, don't we?" Kane asked. "Your ships are currently being controlled by a computer system that processes information faster than your entire planetary network. The weapon that disabled your systems was built using principles your scientists haven't discovered yet. This ship you're talking to, it can travel from Earth to your homeworld in less than 2 weeks." Theron felt his world collapsing. 2 weeks to reach Althoria? That was impossible. It took Althorian ships over 3 months to make that journey. "You're bluffing," he said, but his voice lacked conviction. "Watch your sensors," Kane said. The human ship simply vanished. One moment it was there, the next it was gone. The Althorian sensors showed nothing but empty space. Then it reappeared, but now it was on the opposite side of the Althorian formation. It had traveled thousands of miles in an instant, without any energy signature or warning. "Teleportation," Vex whispered. "They have teleportation technology." Not teleportation, Kane corrected, his voice now coming from their new position. Faster than light travel. We call it a jump drive. Very useful for getting around quickly. Theron slumped in his chair. Everything he thought he knew about the galaxy had just been proven wrong. The humans were not primitive. They were more advanced than the Althorians, possibly more advanced than anyone. What do you want? He asked quietly. Nothing. From you, Kane replied. But I want you to deliver a message to your High Council. Earth is not interested in joining anyone's empire. We are perfectly capable of defending ourselves. Any future visits to our solar system should be diplomatic in nature, and if we refuse, Kane's voice grew cold. Then you'll discover what other technologies we've developed while you weren't paying attention. The Althorian ships were now at the edge of the solar system, their systems still under human control. Only then did Kane release them. You're free to go, he said. Have a safe journey home. As the Althorian ships began their long journey back to their empire, Theron stared at the empty space where the human vessel had been. His mind raced with the implications of what had just happened. The humans had been watching and learning for decades. They had technologies that surpassed anything in the galaxy. And they had been hiding it all, waiting for the right moment to reveal themselves. The galaxy was about to change forever and no one was ready for it. The news of Ambassador Theron's humiliation spread through the galaxy's underground networks like wildfire. In the dark corners of space stations and the private channels of merchant ships, beings whispered about the impossible.
Thorian.
Warships had been defeated by a single human vessel without a shot being fired. Most dismissed it as fantasy. But some listened more carefully. Admiral Kex Vorthok of the Vorthan Confederacy was one of those who listened. The Vorthons were older and more powerful than the Althorians, controlling over 200 star systems. They had been spacefaring for 10,000 years and considered themselves among the galaxy's elite civilizations. The Althorians are fools, Vorthok told his officers as they gathered in the war room of his flagship, the Eternal Glory. They probably encountered some new human trick and panicked. We will show them how proper contact should be made. Vorthon Confederacy had a different approach to dealing with primitive species. Instead of demanding immediate surrender, they preferred to study their targets first. They would arrive with a scientific expedition, learn everything about the humans, and then decide how best to incorporate them into the Confederacy. How many ships will you take, Admiral? Asked Captain Rex Morthan, his second-in-command. 20 vessels should be sufficient. We'll call it a research fleet, but each ship will be fully armed. If the humans have some new toys, we'll be ready. For them, the Vorthan fleet that entered the Sol system 2 months later was impressive by any galactic standard. 20 massive ships, each one larger than anything the Althorians had ever built. Their hulls gleamed with advanced armor plating, and their weapon ports could be seen even from a distance. This was not a diplomatic mission pretending to be peaceful. This was a show of overwhelming force disguised as scientific curiosity. But as soon as they crossed into human space, Admiral Vorthok knew something was wrong. Sir, reported his sensor officer, Lieutenant Zarevex, we're detecting massive energy signatures throughout the system. Define massive, Vorthok ordered. Larger than anything in our database. There are structures orbiting every planet and moon. The asteroid belt appears to have been completely transformed into some kind of industrial complex. Vorthok moved to the main viewing screen and felt his breath catch. The Sol system bore no resemblance to the primitive backwater described in their intelligence files. Enormous space stations orbited every world, some larger than Vorthan cities. Ships moved between the planets in steady streams, and each vessel appeared to be using propulsion technology he didn't recognize. This can't be the same system, he muttered. Admiral called his communications officer. We're receiving a transmission. From Earth, put it through. A human woman appeared on the screen. She was young, perhaps 30 years old by human standards, with dark hair and intelligent brown eyes. She wore a white coat over a simple gray uniform, and her manner was friendly, but professional. Welcome to the Sol system, she said with a warm smile. I'm Dr. Emma Chin, Earth's lead xenobiologist. We've been expecting you. Expecting us? Vorthok asked. Of course. News of the Althorian visit reached us some time ago. We assumed other species would want to investigate. We're always happy to meet new neighbors. Vorthok felt off balance. The humans seemed genuinely pleased to see them, showing none of the fear or awe that primitive species usually displayed when faced with a superior fleet. I am Admiral Vorthok of the Vorthon Confederacy. I come in the name of science and peaceful exploration. How wonderful, Dr. Chen replied. We love meeting scientists. Would you like a tour of our system? I think you'll find our recent developments quite interesting. Recent developments? Oh, yes. We've made significant progress in the past few decades. Solar engineering, quantum manufacturing, faster-than-light travel, that sort of thing. Nothing too exotic, but we're quite proud of our work. Vorthok's head began to spin. Solar engineering meant reshaping entire star systems. Quantum manufacturing could produce materials that existed only in theory. And faster-than-light travel was something only the most advanced galactic civilizations had achieved. I would like to see these developments, he said carefully. Excellent. Please follow the navigation beacons. We'll start with Mars and work our way outward. As the Vorthan fleet moved deeper into the system, following the human guidance signals, Admiral Vorthok began to understand the scope of what they were seeing. Mars was no longer the dead red planet described in their files. It was a garden. World covered with massive domed cities that sparkled like jewels. The planet's 2 moons had been completely hollowed out and converted into shipyards where vessels larger than Vorthan dreadnoughts were under construction. Sir, whispered Captain Morthan, those ships in the Mars shipyards, they're bigger than our entire fleet combined. I can see that, Vorthok replied grimly. The asteroid belt was even more impressive. What had once been scattered rocks was now a continuous ring of industrial platforms. Mining stations extracted materials while manufacturing plants turned them into components for ships, stations, and technologies that Vorthok couldn't even identify. You can see, Dr. Chen continued from her transmission. We've been quite busy. The asteroid belt provides all the raw materials we need for our expansion projects. We've also established similar operations in the Kuiper belt and several other star systems. Other star systems? Vorthok asked weakly. Oh yes, we have colonies in 15 systems now, mostly focused on resource gathering and scientific research. Nothing too ambitious yet, but we're planning for the future. 15 star systems. The humans had colonies in 15 star systems, and the galactic community had no idea. How long had they been expanding? How had they hidden it so completely? Chen, Vorthok said, our intelligence reports indicated that your species had barely achieved basic space travel. The human woman laughed, a sound that somehow managed to be both friendly and deeply unsettling. Admiral, we've been aware of galactic civilization for over 50 years. We've been monitoring your observer ships, studying your technology, and learning from your communications. Did you really think we would just sit here waiting for someone to notice us? But the observer reports showed exactly what we wanted them to show. Every time one of your scout ships visited our system, we made sure they saw a primitive Earth with basic technology. Meanwhile, our real civilization was growing hidden beneath their sensors. Vorthok felt a chill run down his spine. You've been deceiving the entire galaxy? Not deceiving, Dr. Chen corrected gently, preparing. We knew that eventually we would have to take our place among the stars. We wanted to be ready when that time came. Ready for what? Ready to be equals, not subjects, as if to emphasize. Her point, the space around the Vorthan fleet suddenly filled with human ships. It hadn't been there a moment before, but now dozens of sleek vessels surrounded Vorthok's force. Each one was smaller than the Vorthan ships, but something about their design suggested capabilities far beyond their size. Admiral, his sensor officer reported, her voice shaking, these ships are not showing up on our long-range scanners at all. It's like they're invisible to our detection systems. Stealth technology, Vorthok breathed. We prefer to call it privacy screening, Dr. Chen said with another smile. It's very useful for avoiding unwanted attention. Your ships, by the way, have been visible to us since you entered our outer sensor network 3 days ago. 3 days. They'd been tracking the Vorthon fleet for 3 days without being detected themselves. What do you want from us? Vorthok asked. Nothing at all, Dr. Chen replied. We're simply introducing ourselves. The old arrangement, where Earth was ignored and dismissed, is ending. From now on, humanity will be taking a more active role in galactic affairs. And if the galaxy objects, Dr. Chen's smile became slightly cooler, then the galaxy will discover that we've learned quite a lot during our years of quiet observation. We know the location of every major fleet, the capabilities of every weapon system, and the weaknesses of every government. We've been very thorough students. The implications hit Vorthok like a physical blow. While the galaxy had been ignoring Earth, humans had been studying everyone else. They knew galactic military capabilities better than most military commanders. They had identified weaknesses that could be exploited, and they had developed technologies that made them superior to civilizations thousands of years older. This changes everything, he whispered. Yes, Dr. Chen agreed. It does. Can be good, Admiral? Humanity doesn't seek conquest or domination. We want partnership, trade, and mutual advancement. The galaxy has much to offer us, and we have much to offer the galaxy. As the Vorthon fleet began its journey home, escorted politely but firmly to the edge of human space, Admiral Vorthok stared at the sensor readings that would reshape galactic politics forever. The humans had revealed just enough of their capabilities to make their point clear. They were no longer the primitive species everyone believed them to be. The galaxy was about to learn that while they had been looking down on Earth, Earth had been rising to meet them. Now it was too late to stop what was coming. The Great Assembly Hall on Nexus Station had never seen such chaos. Representatives from over 300 species filled the massive chamber, their voices raised in anger, fear, and confusion. The emergency session of the Galactic Council had been called after reports began flooding in from across known space. Human ships had appeared near dozens of worlds, and every encounter told the same impossible story. Council leader Zeph Dalrian stood at the central podium, his forearms raised. For silence. The tall, blue-skinned Nexari had led the council for 20 years, but he had never faced a crisis like this one. His species had been spacefaring for 15,000 years, and they prided themselves on knowing everything that happened in their galaxy. Order. Zeph called out, his voice amplified across the chamber. We will have order. The noise gradually died down as representatives took their seats. Zeph looked out at the assembled beings and saw something he had never seen before: genuine fear in the eyes of some of the galaxy's most powerful species. We all know why we are here, Zeph began. In the past month, human vessels have appeared in 47 different star systems. These ships have made no hostile moves, but their mere presence has shaken the foundation of everything we thought we knew about galactic civilization. A ripple of nervous chatter ran through the assembly. Zeph continued. I will now hear reports from those who have encountered these humans directly. Admiral Vorthok rose from the Vorthon delegation. His once proud bearing was now bent with the weight of what he had witnessed. Honored counselors, he began. The humans are not what we believe them to be. Their technology surpasses our own in every category. They've colonized 15 star systems without our knowledge. They possess stealth capabilities that render our sensors useless. And they have been watching us for decades. Impossible, shouted Representative Kala Nethran of the Draxi Empire. Our intelligence networks would have detected such expansion. Your intelligence networks see only what the humans want them to see, replied a new voice. Every head in the chamber turned toward the main entrance. A human figure walked down the central aisle with calm confidence. It was a middle-aged man with graying hair and steady green eyes. He wore a simple black suit with no decorations or symbols of rank. I am Ambassador Marcus Webb, representing the United Earth Government, the human said as he reached the central floor. I believe you have some questions for us. The chamber erupted in chaos again. Some representatives shouted demands, others whispered among themselves, and a few simply stared in shock. No species had ever appeared before the council without an invitation. The security protocols alone should have prevented any unauthorized entry. Zeph pounded his gavel repeatedly. How did you get in here? This station has the most advanced security in the galaxy. Marcus smiled slightly. And we've been studying your security systems for quite some time. Your protocols are well designed, but they assume that intruders will use familiar technology. We simply walked through using methods you haven't encountered before. This is an outrage, bellowed General Max Koreth of the Hegemony Fleet. You dare to violate our most sacred space. With respect, General Marcus replied, this is a galactic council, and Earth is part of the galaxy. We have as much right to be here as anyone else. Zeph studied the human carefully. There was something unsettling about his calm demeanor. Most species showed some sign of nervousness when facing the assembled might of galactic civilization. This human seemed completely at ease. Very well, Zeph said. You are here. Explain yourself. Explain what your species has done. Marcus moved to the center of the chamber, turning slowly to address the entire assembly. For 53 years, your observer ships have visited our solar system. Your reports consistently described humanity as primitive and non-threatening. Based on these reports, the Council classified Earth as a Class D civilization and largely ignored us. "'Cause that's what you were," interrupted Representative Vela Zenthic of the Trade Federation. "Our sensors don't lie," your sensors reported. "Exactly what we programmed them to report," Marcus said calmly. "Every transmission from Earth was carefully filtered. Every space mission was designed to appear crude and simple. Every technological development was hidden from your view." The chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. "While you filed your reports and dismissed us as irrelevant," Marcus continued, "we were learning. We studied your languages, your technologies, your governments, and your military capabilities. We reverse-engineered your equipment and improved upon it. We developed solutions to problems you didn't even know existed." "But why?" asked Dr. Mila Verith of the Scientific Consortium. "Why hide your advancement?" "'Cause we learned from history," Marcus replied. "Every time a new species joins galactic civilization, they become junior partners in someone else's empire. Their resources are exploited, their culture is absorbed, and their independence is lost. We decided that when humanity took its place among the stars, it would be as equals, not as subjects." General Koreth stood up, his massive frame towering over the assembly. "You speak of equality, but you have deceived us all. How do we know? You don't plan to conquer the galaxy? Because if we wanted to conquer the galaxy, General, we would have done it already." The simple statement sent a chill through every being in the chamber. There was no boasting in Marcus's voice, no threat or bluster. It was simply a statement of fact. "Our ships have appeared near 47 worlds in the past month," Marcus continued. "Each one demonstrated technology superior to anything you possess. If we were conquerors, those worlds would already be under human control. Dead we are. Here, offering partnership." "What kind of partnership?" Zeph asked quietly. "The kind where everyone benefits. Human technology can revolutionize medicine, transportation, and communication across the galaxy. Our manufacturing capabilities can produce resources faster and more efficiently than anything you've seen before. Our exploration ships can reach regions of space that have been inaccessible for millennia. And in return," prompted Zeph, "in return, we want to be treated as equals. We want fair trade agreements, mutual defense pacts, and a voice in galactic affairs proportional to our capabilities." The chamber buzzed with whispered conversations as representatives discussed this unprecedented situation. Some species were already calculating the benefits of human technology. Others worried about losing their dominant positions in galactic politics. Representative Korax Vethian of the Mining Guild stood up. "How do we know you won't simply take what you want? Technology clearly makes you superior to all of us." Marcus's expression grew serious. "Because superiority without wisdom leads to tyranny, and tyranny always fails in the end. Humanity didn't spend 50 years preparing just to become another galactic empire. We want to build something better, and if we refuse your partnership," asked General Korath. "Then you'll be left behind," Marcus said simply. "The galaxy is changing whether you accept it or not. Species that adapt and work with us will prosper. Those that don't will find themselves increasingly irrelevant." It wasn't a threat. It was just the truth. The old order, where established powers could ignore or dominate newer civilizations was ending. Humanity had made sure of that. As Marcus walked back toward the chamber entrance, Seth called out, "Wait, where are you going?" "Back to my ship," Marcus replied. "You have a lot to discuss, and we have a galaxy to explore. When you're ready to talk seriously about the future, you know how to reach us." He paused at the chamber doors and turned back one final time. "Oh, and counselors. The next time you want to classify a species as primitive, you might want to make sure they're not listening." With that, the first human ambassador to address the Galactic Council walked out, leaving 300 species to grapple with a new reality. The galaxy's balance of power had shifted forever, and everyone knew it. 6 months had passed since Ambassador Marcus Webb walked out of the Galactic Council chambers, and the galaxy had transformed in ways no one could have imagined. Admiral Lisa Torres stood on the observation deck of the Frontier, humanity's newest exploration vessel, watching a sight that would have been impossible just a year ago. Through the massive transparent hull, she could see ships from dozens of different species working together in perfect harmony. Vorthan engineering vessels worked alongside human construction ships to build a new type of space station. Althorian medical frigates shared docking space with Earth hospital ships. Even the proud Draxi Empire had sent their finest scientists to collaborate on joint research projects. Admiral called Captain Tom Bradley from behind her. "We're receiving the final status reports from all joint operations." Lisa turned from the window and walked back to the bridge. The Frontier was unlike any ship ever built, designed specifically for the new era of galactic cooperation. Its crew included beings from 15 different species, all working under human command, but as true partners rather than subordinates. "What's the status of the medical mission to Calera Prime?" Lisa asked. "Complete success," reported Dr. Sarah Kim, the ship's chief medical officer. "The Kelleran plague has been completely eliminated using our enhanced nanomedicine. The planetary government estimates we saved over 2 billion lives." Lisa nodded with satisfaction. Kelleran plague had been ravaging that world for 3 years. Traditional galactic medicine had been powerless against it. But human biotechnology had developed a cure in less than 2 weeks. Word of the miracle had spread across dozens of systems, and suddenly everyone wanted to know more about human medical capabilities. "Communication from the Nexus system," announced Lieutenant Maria Santos from the communications station. "New quantum relay network is online and functioning perfectly. Travel time between the outer rim and the galactic core has been reduced by 60%. That was another human innovation that had changed everything. The old galactic communication system relied on slow, inefficient transmission methods that took months to carry messages across space. Human quantum relays could transmit information instantly across any distance. What had once taken months now took minutes. "And the exploration results from the void sector?" Lisa asked Captain Bradley. Smiled. 3 new habitable worlds discovered, along with mineral deposits that will supply the entire galaxy for the next 1,000 years. The Consortium of Free Worlds has already filed colonization requests. The void sector had been considered unreachable by galactic civilization. The region was so far from known space that traditional ships would take decades to reach it. But human jump drives could cross the distance in days, opening up vast new territories for exploration and settlement. Admiral Torres, came a familiar voice from the main screen. "Hope I'm not interrupting anything important." Lisa smiled as Ambassador Webb's face appeared on the display. He was calling from Earth, where he now served as humanity's primary diplomatic representative. "Not at all, Ambassador. How are things on the home front?" "Busier than ever," Webb replied with a chuckle. "We have over 50 species requesting formal alliance agreements. The Trade Federation wants exclusive rights to human manufacturing technology, and the Science Consortium is offering us 3 entire star systems in exchange for our research. Data on faster-than-light travel." It was exactly what they had hoped for. Instead of being conquered or absorbed by existing powers, humanity had become the most sought-after partner in the galaxy. Every species wanted access to human technology, and they were willing to pay handsomely for it. "Any word from the old council leadership?" Lisa asked. Webb's expression grew more serious. "The traditional power structure is collapsing faster than anyone expected. Half the council members have already signed individual treaties with Earth. Rather than wait for the official council decision, the Nexari are trying to maintain some authority, but everyone knows the old system is finished. That had been inevitable. The Galactic Council had worked when power was concentrated among a few ancient species, but humanity's rise had shattered that balance forever. New alliances were forming, old empires were adapting or declining, and the entire political landscape was reshaping itself around human capabilities. "What about the military situation?" Lisa asked. "Completely stable," Webb replied. "No one wants to fight us, and we've made it clear we don't want to fight anyone else. The new defense pacts are working perfectly. 3 minor conflicts have been resolved through peaceful negotiation rather than warfare. That was perhaps humanity's greatest achievement, for the first time in galactic history. Military force was becoming less important than technological advancement and diplomatic cooperation. The old cycle of conquest and domination was finally being broken." Admiral interrupted Dr. Kim. "We're receiving a priority message from the colony ship New Horizon. Put it through." Captain Rachel Park appeared on a secondary screen. Commanding humanity's latest colonization effort, establishing settlements in previously unexplored regions of space. "Admiral Torres, we've made contact with a new species in the Andromeda sector. They call themselves the Morallans, and they've been isolated from galactic civilization for over 5,000 years. Lisa felt a familiar excitement. First contact with unknown species had become routine for human explorers, but each encounter was still thrilling. "What's their situation?" she asked. "Technologically advanced but trapped in their home system by some kind of space-time anomaly. Their scientists have been trying to escape for centuries without success. Can we help them?" Captain Park smiled. "Already working on it. Our quantum engineers think they can neutralize the anomaly within a few days. The Morallans are very grateful and eager to join galactic civilization. Another species saved by human intervention. Another potential ally added to the growing network of cooperation that was replacing the old system of dominance and exploitation. Excellent work, Captain. Keep us informed." As the transmission ended, Lisa looked around the bridge at her diverse crew. A Vorthan engineer worked beside a human technician. An Althorian navigator shared data with a Draxi pilot. Species that had been enemies for millennia were now partners in humanity's vision of galactic cooperation. "Admiral," said Lieutenant Santos, "incoming transmission from Admiral Stone at Mars Command. Let's hear it." Admiral Matt Stone's weathered face appeared on the main screen. He had been promoted to oversee humanity's rapidly expanding military operations, but his role now was very different from traditional galactic admirals. "Lisa, I wanted to give you an update on the defense initiative. We now have joint patrol fleets operating in 43 systems. Human ships are working alongside vessels from 22 different species. Piracy in the Outer Rim has dropped by 80%. Any resistance from the old military powers?" Lisa asked. "Less than expected. Most of them realize that cooperation is more effective than competition. General Korath from the Hegemony Fleet actually requested permission to study our tactical systems. I think he's finally accepted that the old ways don't work anymore." Lisa nodded. Even the most traditional military minds were adapting to the new reality. When human technology made traditional warfare obsolete, smart leaders found new ways to contribute to galactic security. "One more thing," Stone continued. "We've received formal requests from over 100 worlds asking for human protection. Not conquest or occupation, just security guarantees. Everyone wants to be part of the new system. That was the ultimate proof of humanity's success. Instead of fearing human power, the galaxy was embracing it. Species were voluntarily seeking human partnership because they recognized it as beneficial rather than threatening." As the day's reports concluded, Lisa returned to the observation deck and looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, human ships were exploring regions no one had ever seen before. Human scientists were solving problems that had plagued galactic civilization for millennia. Human diplomats were building bridges between species that had been enemies for thousands of years. The galaxy that had once dismissed Earth, as primitive and irrelevant, was now being reshaped by human vision and human values. The old order of conquest and domination was giving way to something unprecedented. True cooperation between species? Lisa smiled as she watched a mixed fleet of human and alien ships preparing to depart for another exploration mission. The galaxy had spent thousands of years looking down on Earth, never noticing that humanity was quietly rising to meet them. Now it was too late to stop what they had started. The age of human leadership had begun, and the galaxy was better for it. Humanity had proven that sometimes the greatest strength came not from the ability to conquer, but from the wisdom to cooperate. The stars had never looked brighter.